Hey everybody, it's Martha. I just thought I'd share a video with you on how to make tortillas. I have the key ingredients on the cutting board. To your left is flour, just regular flour, salt, baking powder, lukewarm water. Make sure it's lukewarm. And then I use lard versus Crisco. You can use Crisco, but stay away from the vegetable oil, which is in the liquid. And then in the back is my pancake griddle, or AKA comal. So it's real easy to do. It just takes time. The secret to making tortillas is that you allow the dough to rise. Remember that. Allow it to rise and make sure that it's in an area where it's warm and covered. Okay? So I'll be back here shortly. Oh, by the way, I wanted to dedicate this video to my grandma, Eloisa, and then also to my nieces. I think one of them, I believe my sister was telling me that one of you guys were interested in learning how to make tortillas. So anybody out there, if you have any questions, message me. See you in a few. Okay, we're back. So one thing that I want to make sure that I actually tell you is that when you're going to make tortillas, you want to make sure that the lard is soft. So you want to leave it out, I would say like 30 minutes before you're going to make it. Take it out of the refrigerator and make sure that it's soft, just because it makes a difference. The other thing I forgot to include is you need a rolling pin. All right, so we're going to get started. And the actual recipe, I had to measure it because I don't know. I normally don't use measuring cups. So I measured it for you. That way I could give you the accurate amounts that you need. So I'm actually doubling this. So let's just say that this is 3 cups of flour. Okay. And you want to kind of do a little, like a little well. Let's see. I would say like at least 2 tablespoons of salt. A little bit more. You can always check it out later. You can always taste it and make sure that it actually tastes well. Let's see. I would say this is probably about a good 2 tablespoons. So remember, I'm doubling up in size. So that would be about a tablespoon. And then I actually have half of this lard thing cut in half from the last time I made it. So I'm just going to use that. And then I'm just going to see if it needs more. Normally it's about what I would say, do like a cup. And what I do is I just break it up. It's easier to mix when you do it in pieces. I remember when my grandma was making it, she would just grab her hand into the lard, and she would just, man, she was wonderful. She just knew how to whip these tortillas out. And I'm going to just drop it in. Okay. Just kind of want to do that. Now, remember when I told you that the water had to be lukewarm? You want to make sure that it is lukewarm. Mix everything up, because that way your stuff is mixed. And then you just want to grab. I have a little, I had about a cup and a half of warm water in this. Remember, I'm actually doing double, because if I do 3 cups of flour, that's probably going to make you, well, it just depends on how big you want to make your tortillas. I at least want to get a good 15, if I can, out of this. And just keep mixing it up, right? You're going to have to get both of your hands in here to get it to the right consistency. And I'm going to add another cup of warm water just to see if I just knead it really nice in there. See how it's dry here? You just want to add a little bit of water. And the important thing is that when you make your tortillas, make it in a container like this. I actually keep this uh, plastic container around just specifically for my tortillas, so that I don't have to run around looking for um, a lid or something to cover it up, because you could use a bowl and just cover it, right? You could just cover it, but I want it to actually rise. And as you notice, the consistency is kind of changed, and that's what you want. You kind of want to knead it to the, to, like, if you've ever made biscuits or just bread, you want to knead it where it's kind of, it's not sticking to my hands anymore. And then this is what I do. It's a little trick. I taste it, because if it's not enough salt, you could use just a little bit. Then I add a little bit more. I kind of cheat. All right. So what you're gonna do is, the longer that you leave the tortilla, or the dough in, it'll allow the dough to rise. So I'm gonna leave it covered in this container for a good 45 minutes before I even do anything. And again, you want to put it somewhere where it's warm. I remember my grandma using a little kitchen towel. She'd wet it up, a little damp, put it over it, and then she would let it rise, if I remember that. So I'll be back in a few minutes, and then we'll go to the next step. All right. All right, so I wanted just to start back up. A couple of things that, a reminder, or just to let you know, make sure that you flour up your rolling pin and the cutting board too. I've taken the flour out of the container. Whoops. And it's really nice. See? And what you want to do is just knead it a little bit more on some flour. You can just knead it. And then what you're going to want to do, you want to make them in what they call little bolitas, which is little balls. So the easiest way is to grab it, and do that. And then kind of want to play with how big you want them. So you just want to just turn it around, and it could take some time. Turn it around, and it looks like that. They don't have to be perfect, because what's going to happen is I'm going to show you another little thing that I do as you're making them. See that? And you can take away or add to it, right? Let's see. Actually. And you want to continue doing this until you get them all. And I'm going to go ahead and make those, and I'll be back. All right, I finally finished. So I got about 17 like I thought. So if you do that in half, that's how much the 3 cups will make. Half of 17. It just depends. I guess I could have went smaller, but you'll see why I made them this size. Also, right at this point, once they're finished, I'll just cover them up again. And then I'm going to get my griddle going, or my comal. And you want to set that at like 6 or 7. If you have just a regular old dial stove, make it just medium, what would that, medium to high. Not high, not at 8 or 9. Make it about 7, okay? Okay, so we're back. I've made all the bolas, and you notice that I've had the cutting board floured up. You want to do that. So this is the trick. You want to roll it out, do one turn, and then if it doesn't come out right, the beauty of it is the dough is so fine and easy that you can create your circle. And I just put it like this. I add some more flour. And you can't go wrong because your hands are going to create the elasticity of the flour. See that? That's when you know you got a good tortilla coming. When you can pull as much as you need to get it to. See, I really don't really have to do anything as I turn. So while you're doing these, the reason why I'm doing this because I'm waiting on my comal, the griddle, to get to the right temperature, because you don't want to put these on too early, because if not, then it just, your tortilla I think might just sit there too long and it might get hard. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish up and I'll come right back. So the comal is doing really well right now. It's ready. We're gonna put the first one on. You want to go forward and drop. At this time you can kind of, if it's not as round, that's okay. So what you're going to start seeing it rise there. I don't know if you can see that, but see that? It's going to rise, and I'll tell you what I've learned is if for starters, if you want to if you're not really sure how it's cooking, you just want to be able to lift it on each side to see if it's cooked yet. It's not. And you want to make sure that your comal is good so it's not sticking to it, because a lot of times the griddles, if they're not seasoned, your tortilla can stick and then it will burn. So you'll see the little bubbles as it bubbles up. It's telling you that it's almost time to turn me over. Almost time. As it continues bubbling, you'll kind of see it's cooking. Then you just turn it around. And what I do is kind of just gauge it, right? Because you can turn it around and cook this, which I probably will. Sometimes for me, the first tortilla, I don't know what it is. It's probably the temperature of the comal. It always comes out the worst. I don't know why. Yeah, it's perfect. And the nice thing about it is when you let the dough rise, then tomorrow your tortillas aren't tasting like bricks. They're thin enough where you can make taquitos out of them. You see how beautiful that is? That's a nice tortilla. My son is filming me right now, my son Derek, and he's ready to tear up a tortilla, which I actually made the first one, and it didn't come out like bricks. I guess I shouldn't say it comes out like bricks. And can you show him that? And then what you want to do is you want to be able to put the tortilla in, I have it on a plate. And then you want to cover it up to keep them nice and toasty. And I'm just going to make a few more. You see how it's rising? You don't want your tortillas thick. You want to make sure they're thin and that they're easy to fold and stuff, because then that's when you have a thick tortilla, they'll crack, or they'll just taste too, they just won't taste, well, I guess they'll taste good. It doesn't matter. It's just that it doesn't present well. It's not a good presentation for a tortilla. You notice how they don't have to be round all the way. What I like is I try to get them as round as I can. See how it's all bubbling around? It's cooking very well, or yeah, it's cooking very well. I'm going to make a few more, and just to kind of give you an idea of perfect. And then I just do this. Hit the comal so that it doesn't start to bubble, because when it starts to bubble, then chances are it'll start to burn. And I'm going to turn it down just a bit. I have it at like a little 6.5 on my temperature, and then the back side of it cooks faster. I'll make 2 more, and then I actually just made some Spanish rice and some pinto beans, and I mixed them in with some black beans. I love me some black beans. See that? Oops. One more. See, and you can always fix them on the comal, aka pancake griddle, and you can form them. That way they come out semi-round and they don't start looking like Texas maps. What was I going to tell you? So when my grandma used to make tortillas, she used what they call a, well, actually, she used the lids of an old cast iron stove. And I hunted around just recently, about a couple months ago, because I was determined to find her comal, right? Which is a little smaller. And I found one, and it also even had the, I call it the fork, because it kind of has, well, it looks like a T, I should say. But I need to cure that still. But I'll probably be making tortillas. I like this one. This is my favorite comal. I've had it for years, so it's fairly seasoned. I make eggs, pancakes on it. See that? So you're just gonna hit it so that it doesn't start to burn. All right. Well, that's for now. If you have any questions, inbox me. I hope that you're on your own making tortillas and enjoying them. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.